That morning started like any other, until I saw the bank alert. 750,000 from him. For a few seconds, I couldn't breathe. My husband, the same man who once argued with a tomato seller because she added 50 naira, had just sent me 750,000 naira. I checked again. It wasn't a dream. My phone screen glowed like heaven had decided to text me directly. But the shock didn't end there, because 2 minutes later, I heard a loud scream from the bathroom. His scream. Then came the sound of the door slamming open. Babe! Babe, have you seen anything strange on your phone? That was when my heart started beating fast. Let me take you back a bit. My name is Laura, and I've been married to Charles for 5 years. 5 long, tight, pocket-locked years. If stinginess had a president, my husband would be sitting proudly in Aso Rock. The man could watch you sneeze and still refuse to buy tissue. When we first married, I thought it was just his way of saving money. Being careful. But it was more than that. Charles was allergic to spending, especially on me. He would say, "Laura, must you buy meat every day?" Or, "Why are you using 2 bulbs in one room? Light is expensive." At first I laughed. I thought it was funny. But with time it became painful. I was the one doing everything. Cooking, cleaning, managing, even supporting the house with a little money from my hair salon. Meanwhile, he would walk around with ironed shirts and fine shoes, pretending to be broke. But I wasn't completely blind. I noticed the perfume he started wearing, foreign scent. I noticed the late-night smiles while typing on his phone. I noticed how suddenly airtime disappeared faster than food in his plate. Still, I stayed quiet. Sometimes I'd look at him sleeping and whisper, "God, if this man is testing me, please end the exam." Then one day, I overheard him in the living room. He was laughing softly into his phone. "Yes, baby, I'll send it soon. Don't worry. You know you're my queen," he said. I froze in the kitchen, holding my plate of rice. Queen? He had never called me that. Not even once. Later that night, I tried to ask gently, "Charles, who were you talking to earlier?" He frowned immediately. "Why are you spying on me? Must you know everything I do?" I forced a smile. "I was just asking." He hissed, "You women always suspecting nonsense." That was it. I didn't ask again, but I started watching, closely. He began locking his phone like it contained nuclear secrets. One time I tried to use it to check the time, and he snatched it from my hand. "Don't touch my phone," he said sharply. "Even your wife?" I asked quietly. "Yes," he replied. "Even my wife." That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept asking questions I wasn't ready to answer. If he was truly struggling like he always claimed, why was he buying new shirts every week? Why was he suddenly more generous with strangers, but stingy with me? And who exactly was Baby? Still, I stayed silent. Not because I was weak, but because I wanted to see how far his lies would go. Then came that morning. The morning everything changed. I was sweeping the sitting room when the bank alert came in. 750,000 from Charles. At first, I thought it was a system error. Then I saw his name clearly written. I just stood there, holding the broom, staring at my phone like I'd seen a ghost. For years, this man never gave me 10,000 without a long story. Now suddenly, 750,000? Maybe God is rewarding me, I whispered. Maybe I've finally passed the test. But before I could even smile properly, I heard the bathroom door bang open and his panicked voice fill the house. "Babe! Babe! Have you seen anything strange on your phone?" I swallowed hard and looked up. His face was pale, towel wrapped around his waist, phone in hand, eyes wide like a man who just lost his soul. "Strange?" I repeated, pretending to be calm. "Why?" He rushed to me. "Don't tell me you saw a message." "Oh, I saw," I said softly. "In fact, it was a beautiful one." He blinked, confused. "Beautiful? What do you mean?" I showed him my screen, the alert shining bright. His jaw dropped. "Oh my God!" At that moment, I knew. Whatever he planned, it wasn't meant for me. And somehow, that realization hurt more than anything he'd ever done. Hey, story lovers, before we dive in, please hit that subscribe button because this story will make you laugh, cry, and hold your chest at the same time. And don't forget to drop your location in the comments. Let's see where our Story and Soul family is watching from today. Now, let's continue the story. He stood there in the middle of our small living room, towel around his waist, mouth wide open, and panic written all over his face. 750,000. That was the price of his carelessness, and the price of my heartbreak. He didn't even try to hide his confusion. Laura, please tell me you haven't used it. Used what? I asked calmly. The money. I tilted my head, pretending to think. Oh, so you did send it? He rubbed his forehead hard, pacing back and forth. It was a mistake. I swear. It wasn't meant for you. My chest tightened. I had already guessed that, but hearing it from his mouth made my stomach turn. Wasn't meant for me? I said quietly. Then who was it meant for, Charles? He froze, looked up, then said, Just someone from work. Someone from work, I repeated. And your work now involves sending 750,000 naira to who exactly? H, your boss. Don't twist it, he snapped. It's not what you think. Then tell me what it is, I said. Because if it's not what I think, then it must be something worse. He sighed heavily, sat on the armchair, and buried his face in his hands. Silence filled the room. Only the sound of the ticking wall clock and my heartbeat echoed. I folded my arms and waited. After a long pause, he muttered, It's just someone I was helping. Helping? I laughed bitterly. You? The same man who once refused to buy tissue because I used too many sheets? The same man who borrows from me to buy fuel but never pays back? You suddenly became a helper? Laura, please, he whispered. Who is she, Charles? He looked up, guilt all over his face. Her name is... Doesn't matter. I was just trying to help her pay rent. Rent of 750,000? He stammered. She was in trouble. I didn't want her to suffer. Save your story. I cut in. You didn't want her to suffer, but you've been watching me struggle in this house like a maid for 5 years. He stood up suddenly, trying to regain control. I don't have to explain myself to you. Oh, but you do, I said softly. Because your money didn't just land in a stranger's account. It landed in mine, and I deserve to know why. He stared at me, realizing he had no smart way out. Then he hissed, grabbed his phone, and stormed into the bedroom. But I wasn't done. Not yet. That evening, I sat by the window, watching him pace outside. He was talking on the phone again, whispering, stressing. I could tell from the way he held his head that things weren't going well. I walked out quietly and leaned on the doorframe. He didn't notice me at first. Baby, calm down, he was saying. I said I'll fix it. It was a mistake. Yes, I sent it to her by accident, but I'll get it back. The line went quiet for a moment. Then he said, I swear she doesn't know it was meant for you. My heart stopped. That was all the confirmation I needed. He was begging another woman, calling her baby, because his secret money had landed where it shouldn't. I walked back inside quietly, pretending nothing happened. My chest was burning, but I refused to cry. Later that night, he came back into the house, acting normal again, pretending like nothing had happened. Laura, have you eaten? He asked. I smiled coldly. No. I was waiting for my generous husband, the one who sends money he doesn't mean to send. He looked at me sharply. Please stop. Why? You're the one who started this comedy, I said, forcing a laugh. You, of all people, giving out 750,000 like Christmas bonus. Laura, don't provoke me, he snapped. Then tell me, Charles. Tell me who she is. He stayed quiet for a while, then said, fine. Her name is Cynthia. She works with one of our partners. I've been helping her with some issues. That's all. I raised my brows. Helping her with her issues or helping her with your feelings? He glared at me, his jaw tight. You're crossing the line. I chuckled softly. You crossed the line the day you started calling someone else baby. He froze again, eyes wide. How do you know that? I heard you, I said. You were outside earlier, remember? He turned red, then looked away, speechless. I picked up my phone and waved it. Don't worry, I'll make it easy for you. I'll transfer the money back tomorrow. You can continue taking care of your baby. His head snapped back toward me. No, don't do that. Why not? I asked with a smirk. Isn't that where it belongs? He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. He just stood there, humiliated. And for the first time in years, I felt a strange kind of power. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying everything. His lies, his tone, the panic in his voice, and the way he looked when I mentioned the name baby. It was funny. I used to pray for financial miracles, but not like this. Not through my husband's stupidity. Still, part of me was heartbroken. I didn't marry Charles for money. I married him for love, or what I thought was love. Now, lying beside him as he snored quietly, I wondered how many other nights he'd lied to my face, how many secrets sat in that locked phone of his. The next morning, he woke up before me. He didn't greet me. He just showered, dressed, and left the house in a rush. He didn't even touch his breakfast. But I wasn't surprised. I knew where he was going, to fix his mess. By 9 a.m., my phone started ringing. Unknown number. I picked up. Hello? Good morning, Ma, a woman's voice said softly. Please, is this Mrs. Laura? Yes. Who's speaking? She hesitated. My name is Cynthia. I'm calling concerning a small mistake that happened yesterday. I smiled to myself. Ah, Cynthia? Finally. I believe your husband might have mistakenly sent you some money meant for me, she continued, her tone polite but nervous. Please, we're begging you to return it. It's urgent. I pretended to think. Oh, really? So he told you it was a mistake? Yes, Ma. Please, I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. Inconvenience? I repeated, laughing softly. My dear, it's not an inconvenience. It's an interesting blessing. I didn't even know I had a husband generous enough to give such amounts. She stayed silent. Then I added sweetly, by the way, are you his colleague or his prayer partner? Ma? She stammered. I chuckled. Never mind, I'll discuss it with him. Goodbye. And I ended the call. My hands were shaking, but I felt strangely strong. An hour later, Charles came storming into the house, sweating like he'd been running. Laura, he called. Why did you talk to her? Oh, so she reported me? I said, didn't know you two run customer service together. He groaned, rubbing his forehead. Please don't make this worse. Just return the money. I beg you. And why should I asked. Give me one reason. Because it wasn't meant for you, he shouted. It was an accident. Charles, I said slowly, you've never accidentally sent me $5,000 in your life. How come this is the first accident of its kind? He sighed deeply. You don't understand. Then help me, I said. Explain it. I'm all ears. He looked away again, avoiding my eyes. She needed help. She's going through something serious. She was about to be kicked out of her house. And you, her landlord? He glared. You're enjoying this, aren't you? I smiled faintly. A little. He started pacing again, sweating and muttering. Then suddenly, he dropped to his knees. Laura, please. I made a mistake. I was stupid. Don't let this destroy our marriage. I stared at him quietly. The same man who couldn't buy me a simple birthday cake was now kneeling, not for me, but for money meant for another woman. It was tragic and funny at the same time. You're scared she'll find out you're married? I asked. He froze. What do you mean? I leaned forward. You've been hiding me, haven't you? She doesn't even know you have a wife. He said nothing. That silence told me everything. Wow, I said softly. You really built a whole new life outside this house. He began to cry, small tears at first. Laura, I swear it wasn't like that. I was just trying to feel important again. She made me feel respected. I laughed bitterly. So respect now costs $750,000? He tried to touch me. Please, I beg you, don't make a scene. I'll fix this. I stood up slowly, walked to my dresser, and picked up my phone. Charles, I said, you've been fixing lies for years. Maybe it's time one of them fixed you. He stood too, panic rising again. What are you doing? I waved the phone at him. Just checking my balance. It's funny how your accident feels like justice. He looked terrified. Please, Laura, I smiled sadly. Relax. I'm not transferring it to anyone today. Let it rest. You owe me more than money. He blinked in confusion. What do you mean? You owe me truth, I said, and I'm going to get it one way or another. I turned and walked out of the room, leaving him standing there like a man whose sins just received an alert of their own. That night, he barely ate. I didn't either. The air in our home felt heavy, like something sacred had died. When I lay down, I couldn't stop thinking, not about the money, not even about Cynthia, but about how easily lies can destroy a person you once swore to love. And yet, something in me was strangely calm, because for the first time in 5 years, the power was finally in my hands. Hey, story lovers! Before we continue, please hit that subscribe button and turn on your notification bell. I didn't sleep that night, not because I was angry. Anger had already burned and passed. What was left was something deeper. Disbelief. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Charles's face, that desperate, trembling look when I refused to return the money. Morning came slowly. The sun touched the curtains, the birds chirped like nothing had happened, but my heart felt heavy. I sat on the bed, scrolling through the alert message again. 750,000. 750,000 reasons to question my marriage. I tried to remember the last time my husband willingly gave me anything beyond Zoo 2000 for market money. It felt like forever. And now, a mistake made me richer than all his years of marriage combined. Was I supposed to be happy? No, because I didn't win anything. I just discovered how little I meant to him. Still, a part of me couldn't stop thinking about what to do with that money. Should I return it and act like the loyal wife he never deserved? Or should I keep it? Call it emotional damages? Before I could decide, I heard footsteps from the living room. Charles was awake. I watched him from the bedroom doorway as he paced up and down, still in his office shirt from the night before. His eyes red and swollen. He looked like a man who'd lost more than money. "Good morning," I said quietly. He turned sharply. "Laura, we need to talk." I guessed so. He rubbed his hands together like a nervous schoolboy. "Please, I didn't mean for all this to happen. I just want my life back." "Your life," I said, tilting my head. "Funny, because I was part of that life until you replaced me with Cynthia," he groaned. "Laura, I didn't replace you. Then what do you call it?" "She was just someone I talked to. Someone who listened." "Listened?" I laughed softly. "So you paid $750,000 for listening service?" He clenched his fists. "You're twisting things again." I stepped closer. "No, Charles. I'm simply replaying the movie you directed." He sighed deeply. "Fine. I made a mistake, a stupid one. But please, I'm begging you, return the money. She's in trouble." "Still defending her?" I asked. He shook his head. "You don't understand. Her landlord gave her 2 days. If she doesn't pay, she'll be thrown out." I was trying to help. I studied him quietly. For once, I wasn't sure if he was lying or telling the truth. His eyes looked tired, almost broken. But then again, this was Charles, the man who could act like he was dying over 200 missing from his wallet. "Do you know what's funny?" I said finally. "I begged you last month to help me renew my salon rent. You said you didn't have money." He looked away, and now, suddenly, you became an angel for someone else. "That's not fair," he muttered. "Neither is marriage without honesty," I replied. He didn't speak again. He just sat on the sofa, covering his face with his hands. For a few seconds, I almost felt pity. Almost. But then I remembered all the nights I cried quietly while he snored beside me, holding his phone like it was oxygen. No, pity wasn't for today. Later that afternoon, I went to my salon. I needed to breathe. As I braided a customer's hair, my mind wasn't there. Every beep from my phone made my heart jump. At one point, my assistant said, "Auntie Laura, are you okay? You've been quiet since morning." I forced a smile. "I'm fine, just tired." But inside, my thoughts were racing. I knew what Charles wanted. He wanted me to fix his mess quietly so he could continue his double life in peace. And I wasn't sure I wanted to help him anymore. When I closed the shop and got home, I found him sitting in the dark. No TV, no sound, just silence. He didn't even turn when I entered. "Charles," I said softly. He looked up slowly. "Did you send it back?" I dropped my bag and sat opposite him. "No, not yet." His voice cracked. "Why are you doing this to me?" I almost laughed. "You? You're the victim now?" He stood up suddenly, his voice rising. "Laura, please. You don't understand what's at stake." "Then make me understand," I shouted back. He stopped. His lips trembled. "She's pregnant." My breath caught. "What?" He nodded, tears filling his eyes. "She told me 2 days ago. I didn't plan it. I don't even know how it happened." I stared at him, frozen. The world tilted. My knees went weak. "You got her pregnant?" I whispered. "It was a mistake." I laughed, a deep, painful laugh that came from the pit of my stomach. "Oh, I see. So you're consistent with mistakes. First the transfer, now a baby." "Laura, please don't do this." I took a step back. "You know what, Charles? Maybe I should call the baby 750K Jr., since your mistakes are so expensive." He looked broken. "Please." But I didn't care. My whole body was shaking. For years I begged this man for love, for a little affection, for children that never came. And now, the same man had given both, his attention and a child, to someone else. That day I cried. Not loud tears, but silent ones, the kind that burn your soul. The next morning, he didn't go to work. He sat on the couch, calling and calling, whispering like a man being blackmailed. I watched from the hallway as he dialed the same number over and over. "Cynthia, please, I'm fixing it," he said. "Just give me 2 days. Don't do anything stupid." 2 days. That was how long he had left before his lies collapsed on him completely. He started avoiding eye contact with me, moving like a stranger in his own house. Every sound made him flinch. Every knock on the door made him jump. At one point, he even said, "Laura, please don't tell anyone. If my boss finds out, I could lose my job." I looked at him quietly. "You were afraid to lose your job, but not afraid to lose your wife?" He said nothing. By evening, he started sweating again. He picked up his car keys, put them down, stood, sat, restless. Finally, he said, "I'll go meet her. I'll explain in person." I crossed my arms. "To do what? Collect a refund?" He sighed. "Laura, this isn't a joke. She's threatening to tell everyone if I don't fix it." I raised an eyebrow. "And what exactly is she going to tell? That you're a generous married man with good transfer skills?" He looked helpless. "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" "I'm not enjoying anything," I said calmly. "I'm just watching you sweat in the fire you lit yourself." He stormed out of the house, slamming the door behind him. I stood by the window, watching his car disappear down the street. My heart felt heavy, but there was also a strange peace. I had been silent for too long. For years, I watched him make decisions that hurt me, and I swallowed it because I didn't want to lose my marriage. Now I realized the marriage was already gone. He came back late that night, past 11 p.m. His shirt was rumpled, his eyes red. He smelled of sweat and regret. Without a word, he dropped his phone on the table and collapsed into the chair. I didn't ask where he went. I already knew. After a few minutes, he said quietly, "She's keeping the baby." I nodded slowly. "Of course she is." He looked at me. "She said she'll tell her parents tomorrow if I don't transfer the money. They already think she's dating someone single." "Wow," I said softly. "You're not only stingy, you're also creative in lying." He rubbed his face. "Please, Laura, I'm begging you, just return it. I'll find a way to make it up to you." "Make it up to me?" I repeated. "With what? Another mistake?" He closed his eyes. "I've lost everything already. Don't destroy me completely." I stood there, watching him shake. For a moment, I almost felt pity again. Almost. But then I remembered the night I begged him to buy medicine for my mother when she was sick, and he said he didn't have money. Yet now I knew where the money had been going all along. I took a deep breath, walked to the bedroom, and returned with my phone. He looked up nervously. "Are you sending it back?" "No," I said, sitting opposite him. "I'm just checking the message again. I like the way it glows." "Laura, please," he whispered. I stared at him, long and hard. "You know, Charles, it's funny how money you meant for another woman ended up in your wife's hands. Maybe God has a sense of humor." He swallowed hard. "So what do you want?" I leaned forward slowly. "I want you to live with what you did." He blinked. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I'm not returning the money yet. Let it remind you that you can't control everything. You lied, cheated, and still thought you were smart. Now live with your mistake." He looked like he'd stopped breathing. "Laura, please." "Good night," I said, standing up. And I left him sitting there staring at the floor as the fan above hummed like a slow drum of judgment. That night, I finally slept. Not because I was happy, but because I was done crying. And deep down, I knew the real storm was only just beginning. Hey, story lovers! Before we continue this hot story, please hit that subscribe button. Because this part right here, it's where karma finally enters the living room. Now brace yourself. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of his phone ringing again, non-stop. He was still asleep on the couch, same clothes from last night, mouth slightly open, his face pale and tired. I picked up his phone quietly. The name flashing on the screen was Cynthia. Of course, I let it ring out, then it rang again and again. Finally, I shook him awake. "Charles, your baby mama is calling." He jumped up instantly, grabbing the phone from my hand like I was about to delete his destiny. "Why did you touch my phone?" he shouted. I folded my arms. "Relax. I was just helping you wake up. You didn't even charge it last night, lover boy." He glared at me, but didn't reply. He turned away, answered the call in a low tone. "Hello? I told you I'm working on it. Don't threaten me, Cynthia." "Please, I said I'll fix it." I just stood there, watching him like a movie. When he ended the call, I said, "So, how's your queen this morning?" He threw his phone on the chair and hissed. "You enjoy mocking me, don't you?" I smiled calmly. "No, I'm just trying to understand how you can whisper please to her but shout at me." He turned sharply. "Laura, don't push me." "Push you?" I laughed. "Charles, you fell all by yourself." He groaned, rubbing his temples. Can we not do this now? Oh, we'll do it now, I said. We'll do it today, because I'm done pretending nothing happened. I walked closer. You had an affair, got her pregnant, lied to me, and even had the nerve to send her rent money. Then when your mess came home, you tried to make me the cleaner. No, Charles, you owe me truth. He stayed silent, so I raised my voice. Say it! Did you love her? His lips trembled. I don't know. That answer hit me like a slap. Not no, not it was a mistake, but I don't know. I laughed bitterly. Wow, that's even worse. He tried to step closer. Laura, please, don't touch me, I snapped. You destroyed something inside me, Charles. And the funny thing is, you don't even realize how deep you cut. He lowered his head. I'm sorry. Sorry? I whispered. You say it like it's an eraser, but sorry doesn't fix what you broke. He sighed, then dropped to his knees again. Please, Laura, I'll end it with her. Just give me another chance. I stared at him, his proud head now bowed low, his voice shaking. You'll end it? I asked. Yes, I'll tell her it's over. I nodded slowly. Then call her. Now. He looked up, shocked. What? I said call her, on speaker. Let's both hear you end it. He hesitated. Laura, that's not... Do it. His hands trembled as he picked up the phone. He dialed. The call rang twice before she picked up. Baby? Her voice said sweetly. I almost laughed. Baby. Charles coughed. Cynthia, I can't continue this. Silence. Then her voice changed. What do you mean? I made a mistake. My wife knows everything. There was another pause. Then she shouted, You think you can use me and dump me? After everything? Charles tried to speak, but she cut him off. If you end this call, I swear I'll tell everyone at your office. The line went dead. He dropped the phone and buried his face in his hands. I crossed my arms. So that's your helper? He said nothing. Good, I said, walking toward the door. Let her tell everyone. Maybe then you'll finally learn that secrets don't die quietly. I left him kneeling there, shaking like a man whose world was collapsing, because it was. By noon, I was sitting on the balcony, sipping tea, watching cars pass by. The air was calm, but my mind was not. Charles stayed inside, pacing. He looked like someone waiting for bad news from the hospital. At some point, he came out, standing awkwardly by the doorway. Laura, are we going to be okay? I didn't look at him. We? Or you? He sighed. Please, stop talking like this. I know I hurt you, but don't destroy us. I smiled faintly. Charles, I didn't destroy anything. You did. I'm just the one cleaning up the pieces. He sat down quietly beside me. I've been thinking about everything. Maybe I was selfish. Maybe I forgot who you are. I turned to face him. You didn't forget, Charles. You just stopped caring. He blinked, tears forming again. I swear I didn't mean to hurt you. I leaned back. You didn't mean to cheat either, right? You didn't mean to lie. You didn't mean to send money to another woman. You didn't mean to get her pregnant. You've lived your whole life on accident mode. He dropped his head. I continued softly. Do you know what hurts most? I gave you everything I had. Patience, love, loyalty. Even when you made me feel small, I still prayed for you. And this is how you repay me. He whispered. I'm sorry. I shook my head. I don't want your sorry anymore. I want peace. He looked at me, confused. What do you mean? I mean, from now on, I'm focusing on myself. You can fix your own problems. I'm done cleaning up after your sins. He frowned. So what about us? There's still an us, I said quietly, just not the same kind. He tried to touch my hand. Laura, please don't give up on me. I looked into his eyes, the same eyes I once trusted, now filled with guilt and fear. Charles, I said softly, I'm not giving up. I'm just giving back everything you gave me. Silence, distance, and disappointment. He froze. Then I stood up slowly and walked back inside. When I reached the hallway, I paused and looked back. Oh, and by the way, I said, you don't have to worry about the $750,000 anymore. His head shot up. You sent it back? I smiled faintly. No, I used part of it to renew my salon lease. The rest, let's call it compensation for wasted years. His mouth fell open. I shrugged. At least, something good came out of your mistake. Then I walked away. Not with anger this time, but with calm. The kind of calm that comes after a storm, when the air smells new and clean. Inside, I felt lighter. For once, I wasn't the woman begging to be seen. I was the woman walking away with her dignity. That night, Charles didn't speak a word to me. He just sat there, staring at nothing. But I didn't care. Because for the first time in a long time, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Freedom. Days passed, and silence became our new language. Charles moved around the house like a ghost. No smiles, no shouting, no laughter. Just silence. He barely ate. Sometimes I'd hear him making phone calls in whispers. "Cynthia, please calm down. I'll fix it. I'll talk to my wife again." Each time, I'd shake my head quietly. That man never learned. He was trying to fix a broken wall with lies instead of cement. Meanwhile, life moved on for me. I reopened my salon, paid for extra space, and even hired another assistant. Business was booming, and for the first time in years, I didn't have to beg my husband for anything. Funny how his mistake became my breakthrough. One afternoon, while I was counting cash at the salon, my phone buzzed. A message from Charles. "Can we talk tonight? Please. It's important." I stared at it for a while before replying, "Fine." That night, he came home earlier than usual, dressed neatly, shaved, smelling faintly of the same cologne that once made me weak. He sat opposite me at the dining table, hands folded like a schoolboy facing his principal. "Laura," he began softly, "I know you've lost trust in me. I don't blame you. I destroyed everything good in this marriage." I stayed quiet, waiting. "I ended things with Cynthia," he continued. "Completely. I told her to take responsibility for her choices. She said she never wanted to see me again, and I'm fine with that." I raised a brow. "Good for you," he sighed. "I also told my boss everything before she could spread it. I thought I'd lose my job, but he gave me a warning instead. He said I should thank my wife for not destroying me publicly." I smiled faintly. "Well, he's right. I could have." He looked at me, guilt flooding his eyes. "I want to start over. I know I don't deserve it, but I love you, Laura." The word love hung in the air like smoke. For a moment, I almost believed him. The way his voice broke, the way his eyes softened. But then, my mind replayed everything. The calls, the lies, the betrayal. "Charles," I said quietly, "love is not a word you use after you burn someone's heart." He swallowed hard. "I know, but I'm willing to spend the rest of my life proving it." I stood up slowly, walked to the window, and stared outside. The streetlights glowed faintly, and in the distance, I could hear laughter from a nearby bar. Then I turned back to him. "Do you remember the night you refused to give me $10,000 for my mother's hospital bill?" His head dropped. "Yes." "Do you remember how you told me money doesn't grow on trees, but you were secretly sending another woman hundreds of thousands?" Tears rolled down his face. "Laura, please." I took a deep breath. "I forgave you, Charles, but forgiveness doesn't mean reunion." He looked up sharply. "What do you mean?" "I mean I've made my decision. I'm moving out." His eyes widened. "What?" "I already rented a small apartment near my salon. I'll be leaving this weekend." He stood up in panic. "No, you can't do this." "I can," I said firmly. "And I will." "Laura, please, we can rebuild." I shook my head. "We can't rebuild something that was never real. You broke the foundation, Charles. You made me feel invisible for years, and now that I finally found peace, I'm not giving it up." He reached for my hand, but I stepped back. "I'm not doing this out of anger," I said softly. "I'm doing it out of self-respect." He collapsed back into the chair, sobbing quietly, and for the first time, I didn't feel pity. I felt peace. 2 days later, I packed my things. Just 2 suitcases, clothes, hair tools, and a few memories. As I walked to the door, Charles stood watching, eyes red. "Laura, please," he said weakly. "Don't leave me alone." I smiled sadly. "You were already alone, Charles. I just stopped pretending I was still here." Then I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. The air outside felt lighter, cleaner, free. It's been 3 months since that day. I still see Charles sometimes, at church, at the grocery store, always looking like a man searching for what he threw away. He's calmer now, quieter. Maybe life finally humbled him. As for me, I've grown stronger. My salon, Laura's Touch, now has 2 branches. I'm not rich yet, but I'm proud of every kobo I earn. And guess what? I used the last of that $750,000 to buy new equipment. Every time I switch on the dryer, I smile, because it reminds me that no pain is ever wasted. Sometimes my customers gossip about men cheating or making mistakes, and I just laugh quietly, because I know, sometimes, karma doesn't shout. It just presses send. That night, I sat by the window of my new apartment, sipping tea, watching the moonlight spread across the quiet street. And I realized something powerful. I didn't lose a husband. I found myself. Hey, story lovers, what do you think about this story? Do you believe Laura made the right decision by walking away, or should she have stayed and rebuilt the marriage? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button right now, turn on your notification bell, and check the right corner of your screen for more shocking and emotional stories from Story and Soul.